Yo, what's up, YouTube? Today we are going to be updating to NGVO Next Generation Visual Overhaul 5.1. Now, this just released last Saturday, and it's supposed to improve performance, and a few other things that it does is in the original 5.0 update, it introduced frame generation. Now, that mod is still included. However, it is off now by default. Another thing we're going to be doing today, we're going to be checking out the new Wabbajack interface, going through a quick installation guide. I'm just going to do a fresh install of NGVO. So if you're unfamiliar with how to use Wabbajack, stay around for the beginning part of this video and you can watch through the whole install guide. I'm going to go through the whole thing. If you're already familiar with using Wabbajack and you just want to see some of the gameplay changes, you can jump ahead to the gameplay and the visual and performance testing chapters. So first thing here, we're going to go into Wabbajack. Now, when you launch this, it'll automatically update. It's going to put a new folder here. So it's already updated here. It's updated to the new 4.0 and the interface has completely changed. Here it is right here. Now, some weird quirks I noticed if I hit this top bar, it'll turn into a smaller window for some reason. So I think that's a bug. I'm not really sure. And then you've got your new interface here. So this is the home page and it's pretty simple. It's pretty laid out the same way, but this is a little different. So you've got your tabs over here and you can go browse your mod list. Now, in order to actually download and install a mod manually, you can use this button here. That took me a little while to find, the install from disk. However, for today, we are just going to be searching for NGVO. And here it is. It popped up right here. It'll tell you your download size. So the download size is 132 gigabytes and the installation size is 170. So in total, you're going to need roughly 300 gigs if you want to keep the downloaded files, which I do recommend because it makes updating much quicker. I'm going to go ahead and click on it here. This has also changed. You now have an archives tab. It kind of shows you all of the different mods that it's going to install and download. And then you've got your tab here. It's like a README. It'll bring you to the mod list's README page, and you can run through and go through some of the system requirements, which I do recommend going through if you've never done this before. I'm not going to go through a whole lot of it today, but you can check out your recommended specs. And then some of the other things to keep in mind is you'll want to either disable your antivirus or set an exception for the folder that you're downloading and installing this mod list to. And the other thing you'll want to do is you'll want to move your Skyrim installation in Steam to the drive that you're installing this on. In my case, I use a dedicated SSD that I use for all of my modding purposes. And the last thing is, this is an AE mod, Anniversary Edition Skyrim version mod. So what that means is if you don't have the Anniversary Edition already, you're going to have to buy it. It's going to be like a $20 upgrade without sales and whatnot. And if you do have it and you haven't run it yet, you're going to have to run it one time, get to the main menu, let it download all of the creation kit content, and then exit out of the game. So those are pretty much the biggest prerequisites that I recommend. The rest of it you can read through and go through all these guides and see what's what, just to make sure that you have everything you need prior to installation so that we can avoid any failures. So once that's done and you've ran through the README and checked out the archive if you're interested, you can go ahead and hit this download and install button here. Gonna download the Wabbajack file. You can also check your version here, make sure that the version that you're installing is the right one. It's also shown right here, 5.1.0, and that is the correct version. So this screen has also changed a little bit. It used to be kind of like over here where you could change your settings. Now it's up in this area here, and it kind of simplifies it a little bit. So you've got your installation location. What I like to do, this is my E drive. And I like to set up a folder called Wabbajack Mods and then do it by the game that I'm modding, so Skyrim. And then I make a folder for each of my mod lists here. So in this case, we're going to do a fresh install today. And this is 5.1 NGVO. So select this folder. And then the download location, I always make sure that it's set to my E drive, and then I have a general Wabbajack download location. And you can use the same folder for all games if you're into modding other games, like even like Cyberpunk. But the cool thing is, if you keep all of your mods to download to one location, if there's another mod list that shares similar files or uses the same mods, then it doesn't have to re-download it again. So that's really nice. That'll really speed up this process the more you start installing these mod lists. So, all right, we're all set up here. We've got our installation location and our download location. Now all we got to do is hit this install button here in the bottom right corner. It's going to kind of show you what's going on the left side here. I do like this new interface. It does look pretty nice. It looks more clean, more professional. But the cool thing here is it brings up the README. So sometimes they have a separate README site that you can go through. And this one is by Biggie Boss. He's got it all organized with different tabs and also shows some of his other mod lists if you're interested in that. Then you can go through and kind of read some of this other stuff here. And the other cool thing is this is the other tab, the log viewer. I actually like keeping it on the log viewer so I can see what's going on. So you can see here, it's already started to download some of the new mods for 5.1 that I don't have already. So it shows you essentially what processes are going on, and it's going to download those files, it's going to extract them, and then it's going to install them. And this really shouldn't take too long, especially if you have modern day internet and a decent computer. So anyway, we're going to let it do its thing, and then we're going to come back when it's done. All right, we back in. So if the installation was successful, it'll say right up here, finished installing, and then NGVO, that's the mod list we're checking out today. So the cool thing is they added this open in file explorer button, which is awesome. So we don't have to go find the mod list installation location. So here's where we installed NGVO 5.0. So it's going to bring us straight there, which is, like I said, super nice. And then you always want to launch this mod organizer exe. All these mod lists will have its own mod organizer 2 pre-installed. It's like a portable version. Okay, new logo. That looks cool. All right, so here you can look at all your mods. In this case, you just have the one profile, and it's going to put them all in the correct load order, so we don't have to do anything with that, but you can go back and look at some of these mods. Now, I'm curious if the frame generation mod is enabled, but then just turned off in the ENB settings. I'm not exactly sure where it's put. Frame generation, ENB. Okay, so here it is right here. So this is one of the changes, is the ENB frame generation was turned off by default. And then also it looks like there's a custom display tweaks frame gen settings. So if you wanted that new frame gen mod, you would have to check these boxes prior to launching. In this case, I just want to see what the raw performance is like, because there's supposed to be some performance increases with this 5.1. Think specifically with the grass, but we'll go see what that's all about. So let's hit this run button here. All right, here we are in the character creation. You guys know I always pick a cat character. Okay, done. Let's see here. We'll say Catty Pie. Guys, I'm running out of cat names. I need help. All right, cool. Oh wait, hold up. Sometimes there's a chest up in here.
What's that?
Yeah. Take everything.
I think we should stick around to see if he comes back.
Let's go, bro. All right, so here we are in Riverwood, and this video is going to be a little shorter since it's kind of like a minor update. I just want to check a few things like the grass, see how it performs. We'll do a performance test later, but I want to check some things like the grass, different visuals and whatnot. But like I said, it's not going to be as long. And then later on in the video, we'll do a performance test And I'll do it without the frame generation on, and then also I'll enable the frame generation and see how well it performs with it on. So here we are in Riverwood. Let's go ahead and bring this to daylight. Oh yeah, there we go. Excellent. Yeah, this is a great mod list. It really, really does look good overall. Uh-oh. Whoa. This wolf just decided to go rogue on everybody. Attack the town. Man. There's your blood. That's the same. And the cool thing I like about NGVO is it's just like a visual mod list. So like things like the music and whatnot are going to remain the same. Your standard, you know, attack music when you get attacked, that's going to remain the same. And I personally like it when the music stays the same. Like I love the original soundtrack from Skyrim. Like if that was one thing that I would personally change with a lot of these mod lists is I would just revert back to the original music because, you know, it's a masterpiece. So here we go, looking over the river, looks pretty good. Same water. So overall, Riverwood looks about the same, you know. Let's go ahead and put my sword and stuff away. I know you guys have told me, like, dude, why do you have your sword out? Like, what the hell? I know. I sometimes I forget to put it away. Oh, this is just coming over the ridge here, although I am going to have to pull out my sword pretty soon here, because you know the wolf. There he is. There's my boy. Boom! Easy money. Alright, so one thing, like I said, we're not going to make this a super long video, but I want to check out some areas like the grass specifically. So what I'm going to do in classic fashion, I'm going to show all map markers, but in this case, instead of going directly into Whiterun, we are going to be going closer to the Tundra homestead. So like right here is the Tundra homestead. We don't have a key to it, but we can fast travel to it, and there's like some pretty solid grass over on that one side. So let's get it a little brighter up in here. Oh man, I love that weight mod. It's just so fast. I love how fast it is. So here we are out in the fields, and yeah, this grass looks pretty good. And it does seem like there's a improvement in performance. Like I said, we'll test that out in a little bit here. But yeah, this looks great. Pretty solid grass mods. And if you have a lower end system, there are a few things that you can do. Some recommendations that Biggie Boss has recommended on his Discord to try to achieve a little better performance, because the grass mod is one of the biggest things that's going to take out your frame rate. Might as well just start the performance testing right now, just get right into the nitty gritty. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn on my performance overlay here. Got a little skeever. And somehow that didn't get him. There we go. All right, so yeah, you can see I'm getting like 60 almost, which is crazy, especially with through these grass. Like, that's kind of unheard of. So, whatever changes he did, this is way better, even on my system. And just so you guys know what I'm running, if you aren't familiar with my videos, I have a 4080 Super with a 9800 X3D, 32 gigs of RAM, and I always run these at 4K. I have a 4K monitor, so you know, might as well push it to the absolute max, right? Yeah, this is great. This is like a solid 60 through here. Love it. All right, and then I am going to go into Whiterun because there are some benchmarks that I know the exact frame rate of from older versions of NGVO. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, so here we are in Whiterun. Let's get it a little brighter in here. I do love that mod, the weight mod. That is so much nicer than a lot of other mod lists. All right, here we are in Whiterun, kind of mid-morning. Sun's coming up. So some of the benchmarks that I was talking about, like if I look at this house like this, and actually I do need to probably make it midday just so I get an accurate reading. So yeah, typically in the past, wow, this is crazy. In the past, I was getting around like 90. Now just looking at this house from like this angle, if this guy would get out of my face, unbelievable. Unbelievable, these guards. So yeah, I'm almost breaking 100 now. So that's one thing I do absolutely love about some of Biggie Boss's mod lists is he really does work on trying to drive a little extra performance out of all of his mod lists. And it definitely shows. I mean, even if it is just like 5 frames like we're seeing right here. Another benchmark, and I can already even tell going through here, I'm getting around like 80. Another benchmark is looking at this guy. And that's also a little higher. It was typically like 75. Now it's riding around like 80 sometimes, 78. So awesome. So I am really enjoying this additional performance bump. And this is, like I said, without the frame gen on, which we are going to test a little bit later here. But really quick, let's just go into one of these buildings, see how it performs on the interior. And like I expected, put my sword away here, but like I expected, about like 80, 85, sometimes 90. Actually don't know if I've explored this guy's building. Oh, this just goes out to Whiterun. Okay, so this is pretty basic. The one in Nulvis is pretty cool. It has like a basement and everything that goes down right here. But yeah, this is pretty well what I was expecting, kind of like 90 from the performance increase. Just sweet. Check out his bed. Sick bed, dude. All right, now let's really quickly, I want to actually check out the grass that's right outside of Whiterun, because I am more familiar with doing performance testing through there. But based on what we saw with the Tundra, I'm sure that it is probably in the 60s, maybe even breaking 60. We'll see. And yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with this mod list, this is a great mod list if you just want a vanilla Skyrim experience with just all the visuals included without having to worry about installing all that yourself. Yeah, this is great. We're getting about 60 through here, through the grass. I guess sometimes it's dipping into the 50s here and there, but we're pretty well maintaining almost 60 FPS through here with no kind of frame generation. We're not using lossless scaling. We're not using the EMB frame generation, nothing. This is just raw performance at 4K with pretty much ultimate graphics. For at least 2025. I know a lot of people are commenting. They're like, dude, please stop doing Skyrim videos. I'm like, guys, Skyrim is forever. I think we're going to maybe be disappointed when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out with how cool some of these mod lists have been. Unfortunately, for everyone who's been waiting over a decade for that game. But yeah, even coming back through here, about like 65. All right, so now real quick, we're going to go ahead and I don't think that frame generation mod is pre-installed here. I think I do have to go check it. So yeah, it's not. So we're back on our mod list here. Wait for it to load. Then just going to go filter for frame gen. And what we're going to do, I'm just assuming. So we're going to check these two on. And then there's another display tweaks one that I think we want to disable. So you got your display tweaks for frame gen settings. I could be wrong about this, but I think we want to disable this SSE display tweaks one, the standard one. It looks like there's a specific one included just for frame gen here. So let's see if that works. And one thing to keep in mind about frame generation is your overlays will not work. So like the MSI Afterburner overlay that I had, that's not going to work. Your Steam overlay, that one will not work. The ones that do work are the ones that are provided by your graphics card. So I'm going to have to enable the NVIDIA overlay in order to get some accurate performance metrics here. Warning, shadow boost requires SSE display tweaks. Okay, so I might need to keep that on. I'm not sure, but let's just try to run this without it. And for your ENB settings, this one specifically is Shift Enter to get to them. And you're going to want to go to this performance here. And it looks like it's already enabled. So it says frame generation is enabled. And you've got your checkbox here. And if you have any issues, you might have to check this box here that says force frame generation. So I'm going to turn that off. And actually, one thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and turn on the frame counter that comes with the ENB. So it's going to put a frame counter in the top left. This will confirm if it's actually working. I'll show you guys in a sec here. So save changes and apply. Wait for it to not glitch out on me. All right, we didn't break it. So now you can see 60 FPS up in the top left. And now I'm going to hit I'm going to hit Alt Z. Z is in zebra. This is going to bring up my NVIDIA overlay. And I'm going to turn on the statistics here because this is going to be the only way that we're going to actually be able to accurately measure our frame rate with this on. Like I said, MSI Afterburner overlay that I typically use in the top left is not going to work. So you can see right there in the top right that frame generation is working and we're getting about 115 FPS. Now, like I've done in some past testing and like Biggie Boss has said on his Discord, frame generation does bring down your base frame rate for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but you can already tell the base frame rate in the top left, 55. We were just in here earlier getting around like 70 plus, but it's still going to add additional frame rate. So we were earlier getting 70 plus raw frame rate, and now we're getting 110. And yeah, I can already tell this is like really smooth. So this is pretty nice. So if you did need to boost your frame rate just a little bit, if you're running on like a lower end system, this is a good way to do it. I mean, especially considering the fact that this is enabling the AMD version of frame generation. So it actually has access to some of like the motion vectoring. Unlike lossless scaling, you're going to see a lot less like latency. So anyway, that'll do it for this video. If you guys have any questions or you got any specific mod lists that you'd like me to review, let me know down below in the comments. Consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, have a wonderful day.